So rarity is an interesting thing because everybody can be in the initial stage, which Kartik Chandra was referring to in his sloka he took from the Bhagavatam. I think it's Canto 1, Chapter 18. And he says there that the first stage is Mahapunya, which is just that you're greatly fortunate to have come across a book, or to have taken some prashadam, or been to Rath Yatra. And then Danya is you have the treasure, then a potential treasure to access. And then Swasti Ayana is where you start the journey. Ayana is to start a journey like Ramayana. Ayana and Swasti auspicious. So you start the auspicious journey. And so that's most of us in ISKCON. We've started the auspicious journey. But the next stage is Shubham, which is where you go back to Goloka. So that may take some time. That may be rare. That may be a bit rarer. Because it would mean you'd have to stay the entire course to go there, you know.
So if you break down, what was the first section, the first point?
The first one was Mahapunya, which means great sukriti, great fortune, coming into contact with the book, maybe not taking the book, but just appreciating it, touching the book.
Yeah. That's what that the devotee and the manner at the festival, he gave class and
Yeah.
just talking about that.
That's what he was talking about, yeah. Kartik Chandra, yeah.
Yeah, you're guaranteed a human birth.
Yeah. So you could see that as we go on progressively, there'll be more potential souls that are ready to go back, that can achieve the potential of going back to Goloka. But in the initial stages, a lot of them will just be getting touched by books and maybe starting the process to some degree and then falling away. And then another lifetime, and then eventually there'll be a cumulative effect where there'll be a lot of people walking around in society that have had books in past lives or seen Rath Yatras or taken prashadam and are more inclined now to take it seriously. And then of them, more of them will be inclined to want to go back to Goloka.
And do you think that all of us that are in ISKCON are part of that also? Like we're also have progressively got to this stage wherever we're at from previous contact with Bhakti?
I missed the middle bit, you just dropped out, sorry.
Sorry, I said, you think that we got to where we're at because of contact with Bhakti in previous lives? Like, and we're just gradually elevating ourselves up to the point where now we've finally read some books and now we're is that something different?
Well, what distinguishes devotees from one devotee from another, Rupa Goswami explains that if you're very attracted to reading the books and really studying them and getting into them, then it means you've come in contact with devotional service in the past life. Srila Prabhupada says that even if you haven't, the process is so powerful that you can still go back in this one lifetime. But you could see that over, maybe 4 lifetimes, 300 years, there would be more and more people in society that have had contact with books, tried the process a little bit, and it's building up, and then the golden age will start to really flourish because there'll be a higher percentage of people. I mean, it's very, very early days right now in ISKCON, and a lot of the people that are going to take it up seriously will be part of ISKCON, or some form of ISKCON. That seems to be kind of fragmenting a bit and diversifying in different ways, different things, different flavors. So that will also be there as well. and there'll be watering down of things as well, making things easier. Just chant 4 rounds, just follow 3 regs, which will slow the process down. I mean, it takes long enough even when you're chanting 16 rounds and following 4 regs. What to speak of not even doing that, you know. So what will start off as very rare will become more commonplace as this sends its tendrils out in forms of millions and millions and millions of books will pervade the planet, and they'll be in every language, on every shelf, in every library on the planet, and then it'll be easy access, higher exposure. We're very much in the pioneering stage right now. We're just kind of, as a society as well, we're having to, you know, tackle things. There was so many questions that they realized they should have asked Srila Prabhupada at the time, and now they have to try and deal with that, you know. And we're learning through the school of hard knocks as much as anything else, you know. We're not learning so much by hearing just now.
See, because you know, like if you look at previous kind of personalities that have come to the earth and started movements, like Jesus Christ or Muhammad, I guess, like over time their kind of message has been watered down and watered down and watered down.
Yeah.
What's to stop that happening within kind of ISKCON, like Prabhupada's message and Bhaktisiddhanta's message getting watered down?
We're very fortunate. I mean, can you imagine if they'd had some videos of Jesus Christ or some videos of Buddha, and we could look at the videos now, or you know, some videos of Lord Chaitanya and the Kirtan, but we have got videos of Srila Prabhupada. I've just heard twice, actually, 2 devotees. One of them was Bhavananda Prabhu, and there was another devotee as well that were Prabhupada's servant. And they were saying that one thing they noticed about Prabhupada was he never made mistakes. Like, you know, if he scrunched up a bit of paper and went to throw it in the bin, he didn't miss the bin. Whenever he did anything, it was always spot on and perfect, everything that he did. And, you know, we have footage of him, we have audio of him. Of course, we have his books, his letters, we have everything of him practically for 10 years, you know. And that's a lot. That's what this Vanipedia thing is like, building up a whole monastery of sound and words from Srila Prabhupada, so that we can thoroughly understand who he was and what he was giving us.
Yeah, it's a unique thing that we have. It's interesting that Prabhupada came right at that time in history where, you know, tape recorders and film was available for the first time, and he was intelligent enough to get his devotees to point the camera at him, and you know, like, if you ever read Vishaka's Mother Vishaka's book, it's really nice.
No, it's one on my reading list. I've got this one, When the Sun Shines, by Vanshma Prime, and I've just almost finished the 3rd volume of Chasing Rhinos with the Swami.
Okay, yeah.
Toward the end, Shyamasundar just becomes very poetic, and he's just swimming in an ocean of gratitude and just reflecting. Actually, that was the other one, with Shyamasundar Prabhu and Chasing Rhinos. I was saying everything that Prabhupada did was perfect. When you were around him for any period of time, you realize he didn't make mistakes. Yeah,
it's really another point there is like, we've got direct footage of him, and then so many of his disciples have written accounts of Prabhupada from completely different angles. Like if you read a Satsvarup Maharaj book about Prabhupada, it's very different flavor from Vishaka's, from Shyamasundar, from the Transcendental Diary, all completely different kind of voice speaking, but the common theme is just who Prabhupada, the amazingness of Prabhupada. So
yeah, there's a few common things that come up in Prabhupada's memories. What comes up quite commonly is that Srila Prabhupada could read the mind of the devotee, or the person if they were initiated at that time. And they were, one devotee was thinking what name he wanted when he got initiated, and while Prabhupada was telling him what his name was, he was thinking of what his name was, and Prabhupada just said the name,
Yeah. I mean...
So, and there's also, there's a book called Prabhupada Now, and it's a collection of all the different dreams that devotees have had about Srila Prabhupada. And one amazing story of some shoes that were in New Vrindavan in West Virginia, and the shoes was saying to the woman, she was a Catholic woman, and she'd just come to see the palace, Prabhupada's palace, and she walked past Prabhupada, and she heard this voice say, "Take me out of here," and she looked down, and it was the shoes. So she took the shoes, and she took them back home, and the devotees were looking everywhere. They were thinking, why would somebody steal Prabhupada's shoes, And then there was a few strange things going on there. Things got sorted out, and everything normalized. And then the shoes said to her, "Now you can take me back." And so she put them back, and then the devotees found out. She told the devotees what actually happened, So an indication that Srila Prabhupada is still very, very present, very aware of what's going on in his society.
That's amazing. And I don't know if you remember, Shiv Rama just talked about some devotee had a dream, or there was like a person in Hungary, and Prabhupada appeared to her in the dream and said, at some point someone's going to give you one of my books and you should buy it.
and help them. And also said, and you should help them, because he was struggling to get a center going.
Huh. Yeah.
And that again, so that's again indicating. And if Srila Prabhupada's very active, then that means also Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti-rupa Thakur, the 6 Goswamis, they almost have a very keen interest, because they've planted all the seeds, and now they want to see the garden grow.
So I guess the answer to the question kind of there is that this system of parampara that we've been given within kind of the Vedic version is unique compared to, like Christianity, and there's not the succession isn't clean, so it's not free. There's not a lot of life necessarily, and a lot of practicing Christian persons. But what you described there is like Prabhupada's still preaching, and
This is, and those Christians were being prepared for today as well. That they were given a certain amount of piety, and it's all to bring us to this point.
Yeah.
What's interesting about interesting reflection? An interesting reflection on rarity is because we tend to think, well, rarity means it has to be something which is very uncommon. So if there's 55 million people in Great Britain, then obviously they can't all win the lottery. So whoever does win the lottery is going to have to be very rare, But what's interesting about Krishna consciousness, which is a little different, is if somebody takes a book, that's very rare. If they read the book, that's very rare. If they apply themselves to the book, that's very rare. And if they go back to Godhead, that's very, very rare. But then even what's even more rarer is that 1 million people read the book, and 1 million people take it seriously, and 1 million people go back to Godhead. For 1 million people to go back to Godhead, that's more rare than one person going back to Godhead. So it's interesting that exponentially it increases. It becomes rarer the more people do it, because it's even rarer that a lot of people would do it. And then if everybody goes back to Godhead, which is what Lord Chaitanya wants, that's extremely rare. It's much rarer than just 1 or 2 going back to Godhead.
You twisted my mind there. I don't. Wait, what?
Because we generally think, well, if it's rare, it means only 1 or 2 people are going to be doing it. But it's even rarer if millions of people are doing it. See, if 55 million people won the lottery tomorrow in Great Britain and they all won £4 million, that would be so unusual, so rare. It just never has happened before, and it would never happen again. So the more people that take up Krishna consciousness, instead of that decreasing the rarity of it, it increases the rarity of it. It becomes more and more unusual. Wow, even for one person, but now it's a million people are chanting Hare Krishna. Wow, that's so rare to have so many people do it.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, I guess the rarity of it is worth remembering. Like, especially if you look at the Bhagavatam and the time scale of the universe, and how rare it is that Krishna appears in the universe. It's like once every day of Brahma, which is like 4 billion years or something. And then Lord Chaitanya, and then
also we know in Satya Yuga there are a lot were perfected beings, and they got liberated. So when you get to Kali Yuga, you're left with like the dregs of the barrel, But we've been through so many things. We've been through all the other yugas, and talk about materially fatigued. We should be at the point now, Kali Yuga, where it's like we're just fried. We're so fried with everything. We just want to get out,
Yeah, and we've got this opportunity. Luckily, like think how rare it is to be born so soon after Prabhupada. Like our spiritual masters are disciples of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is that rare personality. Yeah, it's just so an opportunity not to score.
When Lord Chaitanya came, he didn't just come with one Prabhupada either. He came with a whole army. And why we should think that it'll just be Srila Prabhupada now? There must be so many souls that are walking the planet right now who are very special. Nitya Siddhas, and they'll just play their part when they need to. It's like with Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he wouldn't have really known that he was, a perfected being. He was just quietly getting on with his bhajan, So there must be souls that are like that on the planet also, playing their part in the big plan that we can't see. And then in the future,
and they've come for us. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of really nice of them to come, throw a rope down to us, kind of bottle of the barrel dregs, because without that rope, look what's going to happen, Kali Yuga descriptions.
Chaitanya's especially inclined to the Lord Chaitanya he's especially inclined to the most fallen, because the most fallen are going to suffer the most, So our qualification is that we're the most fallen, and he's come for the most fallen first. So other people will take up Krishna consciousness in due course of time, but it's a humbling thought to think, wow, Lord Chaitanya had to save me. He had to intercept me, because I was on a suicide course to a long excursion around the hellish planets, and he's realized, okay, I've really got to save this one. This one's really going to go bad if we don't do something with him,
It's amazing as well. He'll make the arrangements. Like, if anyone who's come to Krishna consciousness, it's like there's so many little miracles and arrangements that have been put in place for that to happen for you,
Well, what's interesting about that expression, we say, Krishna's arrangement. Well, if we really want to be aware of Krishna's arrangement, we have to come to the Majjhima Adhikari platform. Majjhima Adhikari can see the devotee, the non-devotee, the envious, and he can see Krishna. So what that means to me is not that he's going around seeing this little cowhead boy running around on the street while he's doing Sankirtan, but what it means is he's seeing Krishna's hand. He's seeing Krishna's making the arrangements for him, and so he's full of gratitude all the time. Wow, Krishna's arranged this for me, Krishna's arranged that for me. And when we're experiencing problems, it's because we can't see the arrangement anymore. We can't see why is Krishna put me in this situation, in these difficult circumstances. And Kanishta can't see. And Kanishta can't see Krishna's hand. And so the Majjhima, we have to get to the Majjhima Adhikari platform as quickly as we can, because otherwise it's like we're in a drama and we don't really know what the script is. We don't really know what's supposed to be going on. We're trying to play our part. So we just keep seeing mistakes all the time, and things seem to be going wrong, And then we think, well, I'll just have to make my own plans rather than relying on Krishna. I need to initiate some strategy here to look after myself. So that's Kanishta. And then Majjhima Adhikari, he's just taking it as it comes, and he's seeing the hand of the Lord behind everything that's going on, how the Lord's arranging this and arranging that. And he's just surrendering to everything all the time, whatever it is. He's making his plans, and his plans aren't working out the way he thought they would. And he's immediately thinking, Krishna's arrangement. Oh, this has gone wrong. Krishna's arrangement. And he's just like that, continually.
It's kind of linked to what we were talking about before the podcast about Sankirtan. Like, for the past 2 weeks on book distribution, I've been in that grateful mood, just trying to be an instrument, meeting nice people and having amazing exchanges, and the whole Sankirtan magic opens up. Past few days, I've kind of lost that gratitude. It's become a chore, and it feels like I've sunk down to that kind of Kanishta mindset on the street. I wonder, do you have any advice to push yourself back
I do
up?
have advice. Yeah, I do. Yeah, we have to develop compassion, because it's all based upon ourselves. Oh, this makes me feel good, and I'm having a great time, and I'm feeling very grateful, and thanks Krishna, and me, I. And we have to shift into having compassion for the people out there that have, they're walking around eating McDonald's. They don't know what they're doing with themselves. Their best friends just committed suicide. The wife's walked out on them. They don't know what they're doing with themselves. They don't know what they're here for. And they're just completely in the dark, And if we can have just a little tiny shred of compassion and think, my God, instead of worrying about myself all the time, can I at least spend, 1% of my time worrying about other people, and just going out there and approaching them, and knowing that, not worrying about what the score is that I'm going to get, and how much recognition I'm going to get, and how much adoration I'm going to get, but just thinking, this person, if they come in contact with a book, they're going to be guaranteed a human form of life. They won't have to fall down into the most dangerous type of fear and lose the human species. There was a Buddhist was telling me once that the Buddhists have this saying that when you lose the human form of life, getting it back is like trying to empty a pond with a hare. It takes the same amount of time to empty a pond with a hare as it does to regain the human form of life when you've lost it. And you're touching that person with a book, even if they don't take it, and they're going to get a human birth in the next life. That is like phenomenally compassionate, there's no better welfare work. Even if you gave the guy £1 million, or he was starving and you fed him a meal, it doesn't compare with getting him to touch transcendental literature and guaranteeing him a human form in his next life. That's like a phenomenal effect it's going to have on his life, and on the whole environment and the atmosphere.
Awesome, thanks. Very good answer. Nice answer.
Okay. I'm going to shoot off.
You got to go, yeah?
Yeah, I've got to go now.